Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your fellow Luis in a social table, and today let's have a conversation of why everybody wants to live in the United States, or maybe why they choose the United States as the first option. And for this conversation, I invited a friend who lives in the United States. Her name is Calixto, and she's going to be explaining and even giving us some insights of why people want to live there. So let's watch the whole video. Hey Lais, how are you?
Hi, good, and you?
I'm pretty good, thank you. Uh, so today, I was like thinking about some things between Brazil and the United States, and actually I woke up one morning and I was like, okay, I need to understand a little bit better why this happened like this, and suddenly you came on my mind because you were
Okay.
from the same country that I am, and now you are living in the, let's call it, America dream, right?
Ooh, yeah, let's say yeah.
So I got here some questions. I hope you don't mind to answer them. So let's go to the first one. The first question is, why does everybody that starts to learn English or even wants to get out of Brazil choose the United States as the first option?
Why? Well, I think it's because we grew up learning about the American culture. You know, we listen to the musics, we cook the dishes. I think the American culture is pretty involving everywhere in the world, and plus English is one of the most is the most language speak for in like anywhere, and I think that's why I picked United States. um, I don't even know why, honestly, but probably because I have heard about the culture and about the places. Like, I'd always in my mind, oh, one day I dream to go to New York, one day I dream to go to California, and this is where those places are. And I was like, yeah, I got to go to United States to be able to travel to whenever I want. I mean, I would like
It
to go.
makes total sense, especially because you just commented about some movies, and we have Disney in the
Yeah,
United States, so that attracts a lot of people to dream about
yeah,
that that place. And for you, like, you were a former au pair, right?
yeah. So I used it to be an au pair a year ago. Yeah, I did 2 years between 2000, middle of 2017 until middle 2018, middle 2018 until middle 2019. So it's been a year that I'm done with the program. Yeah, I used to live in Seattle my first year, and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and yeah, now I'm still here. We'll see.
Congrats, like 1 year living without this nanny life. And like we
Yep.
know that we have like au pairs not only in the United States but in London and some other places, and you still choose the United States to stay. So do you think that the you just commented with me that the past probably influenced, like, okay, the United States is the place that I want to go, I want to visit, I want to travel. So you think that your, let's call it, your childhood and the things, the content that you listen to, the movies that you watch, it influenced you to choose the United States?
Yeah, most likely. Yes, I grew up watching Disney movies. I grew up eating hamburgers and drinking soda, and all of that came from the United States. I think I was pretty involved with the culture, even though I was not living in the United States. Right, still, I was living in Brazil because it's where I was born and raised. But I could say that the culture has always been in my life the whole time. Cause I think not only Brazil, I think you can go whatever in the world, like the besides North Korea, of course. and but I think a lot of countries have a huge influence from Americans.
That's great. And like all right, sometimes we just go to live in another country, and like some people plan to go and then come back with money and stuff like that, and you decided to stay and live in the United States. That's some
Yeah.
great things. And what made you take this decision? Because I know many people sometimes we miss our family, we miss our friends, but then when you go, you have to start your whole life again, get
Yeah.
new, how can I say, like new uh, routine, making new friends and stuff like that. And what made you decide to stay in the United States, like living there?
So yeah, actually, I had a plan of coming and stay 1 year and go back to Brazil. You know, I don't know. I was not even sure if I wanted to stay 2 years when I first came, and then when I was in my second year, that's when I decided that I wanted to stay here because I heard from someone that I was pretty smart and hardworking, and I would do great here. And that's what a friend told me one time, and that's why I was like, well, maybe you're right. He said like you just have this opportunity of staying, of being here now, like your country always going to be your country, and you can go back whatever you want. If you have the opportunity of staying, like, and do your life here, just do it. Just try it. Why not take a shot? And that's why ended up deciding. Like, I started planning myself to stay here. Initially, I was going to the college, right? That's what I was planning. I got a sponsor. Everything was pretty good for me to go to the college. So, and then I met my husband.
That's great.
Yep. And I mean, I still want to go to the college, but it's just different because I was applying to have a student visa, right? I have student status. However, I would still be paying the college as a foreign, student, as an international student, which is way more expensive. And I mean, I still want to go to the college. Nothing changed here about my dreams, but I would wait a little bit more because once all my paperwork is done, I can just apply as a resident, and just like pay the college like if it was just a normal resident. So I just ended up deciding, like, procrastinated this dream a little bit more and save some money because who doesn't want to save some money?
But
Again.
this is really great because you have some visions and you still keep the dreams up. Like
Oh yeah,
at first it was to become an au pair, and now it is to finish your college, just to, like start to study in a college. And I'm not gonna lie, I have like the United States as the first option for me too. But lately, what is happening, like it didn't start this year, but the racism of just living in the United States, being a black person in the United States, makes me feel really afraid of really going. And the next question comes really into this topic. Like, do you think that the United States problems are worse than Brazilian ones, or they are on the same level when it comes to?
racist. Um, it's different. It's always bad. I mean, I don't want to be like the kind of person that say, "Oh, in Brazil is better." We don't have racism in Brazil. Yes, we do. And the racism happening as a social, as a social thing in Brazil, in my vision, like, because it's where a majority of black people are on the poor part of Brazil, right? Like, they're at the
It
poorest
depends on that.
neighborhood. They're always in the poorest place in the cities, and that's when racism happened in Brazil is more like a social thing because I don't know. I feel like if you're black and rich in Brazil, you don't get too much. That's how I feel because I can totally see the difference, from black friends that I have in Brazil, and if they were in a good position, it's just totally different. Like, well, they still had opportunities, so they still can make it. Here, otherwise, um, it's just it's like it's a hate. that the white supremacy still has. Because if you think about it, the Americans slavery ended before that happened in Brazil. 13 years before it actually happened in Brazil, but they actually had their civil rights respected like 50, 55 years ago when Martin Luther King died, right? Because they were free, right? They were not slaves no more. They were free, but they didn't have the same rights as well. So, they had, like a very classic example. They could ride the same buses, but they had a different seat for them. If a white person was walking on a sidewalk, you gotta cross the sidewalk and give the space for the white person. And this is, we're talking about 60 years ago. So my mom's 64 in Brazil, right? My grandma's husband is 67, 68. So she was a kid, so she still can remember. It's not like if, the slavery ended in 18 and 8 late, I don't remember what the slavery ended here, like 1870, something like that. But we're not talking about that, about this slavery. We're talking about the racism and the rights that the black people didn't have it, even though they were free, right? So like my husband's grandma and her family, they clearly still can remember how it was being black 60 years ago. Like you have no rights, like, so they, of course, they always had the worst kind of jobs. So they're not doing the same amount of money of any other white family would be doing. They could not send the kids to the college. All the kids were working since, after, if they graduated high school, cool. If not, they were already working like since they were like teenagers. So, it's like a snowball. Like they could not have any what's called loan. Where's a loan when you go to the bank and ask for some money to
Yes.
start a business or whatever. They were not offered loans. They could not, because if you think like, oh, but they were free, if they couldn't find a job, why they didn't start a business? They couldn't, they couldn't save money. They didn't have a job and that would have paid them enough to save money and leave, or they could not go to the bank because the bank would not give a black person would loan a black person money. So it's a snowball, and yeah, they are pretty aggressive actually. Like the white supremacy here, they're pretty aggressive in a way, like and they are everywhere. You know, they're white supremacists in a police department. They're everywhere, like in teachers. So the hate they distribute is just like a little bit more aggressive. Like I feel like what when I want to compare, I like to bring this up, like the LGBT community in Brazil, the hate they get from people because because they're gay, like they can be gay, and people are just gonna go there and punch them in the face just because they're
Yeah.
gay. That's how it is here. Sometimes they could just gonna throw gasoline and throw fire on you, like just like that. And I feel like that's how it is here. It's just different. The racism in Brazil still is a little bit more soft compared with here, because when they hate, when they are racist here, they are capable of just like do this horrible hate crimes, and it's because they are everywhere. You will never know. Like they can be inside of the hospital. Like it can be a doctor. Like when they're being attending a black person, he would do a very poor job and let the black person die. He can be a teacher that's gonna make difference of this black kid and give more privilege for the white kids, and try to manipulate the black kid. They can be a cop. That's gonna give a totally different treatment once they have to approach and search a black person. And they can be anywhere. So it's just different. It's just scary.
This is what sometimes by watching what's happening over there, I just see that here in Brazil, it's a lot in the eyes. So we see like racism, the way that the person is looking at you. They
All
they
right.
don't like an attitude on that. But in the United States, we see some white people like, hey, get out of this place or get out of this
Yeah.
country, but
Yeah.
they cannot take out of this country. And in the United States, I watched that video probably. you shared that video that they say like uh, about white and black people. It's like white people have freedom and black people they have liberty. So it is not the same thing, you know. Like
Yeah.
freedom is when you can do whatever you want to do, and liberty is when okay you can do whatever you want to do if I allow you to. Just you took the example of the loans. Like okay, we black people
Yes.
can get we can get loans for school, for house, and just being debits. But when you want to you know like just become a big person, like hey, I have a business, I have my idea, so I want to get a loan for my business. They're gonna say no. You can get for a school, you can get for a house, but you cannot get for a business because I don't know. I just feel like that, and even the Donald Trump, you can see that. I think what really scares Donald Trump is seeing the black people, like seeing black people in power. So this is, I believe, this is the big difference between Brazil and the United States. And I believe that this year, the way that we took things, like everybody is taking things, taking some attitudes, something is gonna change. I don't believe it's gonna be like a really big change, but I believe this is a process that is leading us to a let's call it freedom. This you go.
No, yeah, yeah. I know. I'm just agree what you're saying. I totally agree what you're saying.
This is something that sometimes I get really afraid. So, but we know we need to be just aware of what might happen. But coming back here, the next question is going to be like just easy. Uh, Actually, I didn't share this question with you. What is the thing that you miss most about Brazilian culture? Like,
I don't know if it's the food the most, or just like hearing like the language, because like I work for an American family. My husband is American. I do have a lot of American friends as well, so I've been like listening to the English all the time, and sometimes I miss like being around Brazilians. Like my sister came to visit me 2 weeks and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and then I had a friend Lais that she lives in Atlanta as well, and she came to visit. She came to hang out with us, and it was just so amazing having people like speaking the language, like telling the same jokes, like the kind of jokes if you're Brazilian, you're gonna catch the joke. But if you're not, it's just gonna be difficult to make fun of something if it doesn't even make sense for them. And well, the food is really different. How can I explain? The food is Brazil now. I can see it's so natural. The flavor is so much better. It can be way more simple. Food in Brazil can be way more simple, but it tastes way better. So like if I yeah, I would say food and the language, like this is the things that I miss the most. And like, I mean,
if
and what it means the most ever, of course, is my family every day, because my whole family lives in Brazil besides me and my sister. You know?
that makes total sense, especially because as we said, like when you are in another country, you need to understand because their jokes is very different from ours.
Yeah.
So we need to learn how to vibe with them. This maybe we need to unlearn ourselves because we're very far from everybody. Like, hey, maybe it's not funny in my language, but I need to see how funny it might be in your language and just vibe with you. It makes total sense. And this is great. I can see you doing well living there.
Yeah, man. You know, um, of course, like it's not perfect. It doesn't really matter where you're gonna believe in. You're always gonna have a little struggle here, there. But then, if you keep doing the right thing, if you have I think if you have good intentions, if you surround yourself with good people, you're gonna be fine. You know.
That's great. I can see you were a great woman and a strong woman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for joining
Uh,
us in this conversation. Like, for real, when I got
Thanks for
into this
having me.
subject,
Thanks for having me. Anytime. Mhm.
when you're welcome. When I thought about this, I'm like, okay, I know somebody who's living there, somebody that fought a lot to get into that place, and now she's living her dream, and she
Yep.
needs to be part of this. And I'm so thankful that you accepted the invitation,
Thank you.
and this is it. So great. I hope to see you again here in this page.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
maybe in
hope
the
to
next
see you
video.
here. I hope to see you here
I
too.
wanna
You
go
know.
there. I wanna go there.
Okay.
So thank you a lot, Lais.
Thank you. Hmm.
See you.
See you. Bye.
Well, guys, this is the conversation of the day, and yes, probably it makes total sense, at least for me, because we have been like watching and just consuming a lot of American culture, and maybe not like directly, but unconsciously, we think of just living in the United States, or at least like traveling there. It makes totally sense for me. So, guys, I hope you like this conversation. If you have a friend who's learning English, don't forget, share this video with that person, him or her. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, thumbs up. If you're watching this on Instagram, double tap to the screen. It's gonna show that you like the content. And I see you in the next video. See you!